Welcome back to another explainer. Today, we're taking a look at a massive shift happening right beneath our feet, or actually, scratch that, a shift away from what's beneath our feet. We're talking about the future of plant cultivation, specifically looking at a fascinating development called Agrivoltaic MycoSoil. As we'll see from the source materials, we're moving away from traditional growing methods and stepping into this wild new era of highly engineered environmental control.
Okay, let's dive into this. If you've ever planted a seed, you know the absolute unpredictability of traditional dirt, right? You prep the soil, you plant your seeds, and boom, suddenly you're fighting weeds, soil-borne diseases, or pests that just literally seem to manifest out of thin air. It's a massive headache for anyone working the land. But what if your growing medium could physically prevent those pests from taking hold? And what if, get this, it doubled as a highly productive mushroom farm before you even planted your first vegetable seed? I know, it sounds like pure science fiction, but it's a very real concept that's totally changing how we think about agriculture.
To really wrap our heads around this leap forward, we first need to define soilless growing media. It is exactly what it sounds like, a meticulously designed alternative to soil. When we swap out traditional dirt for an engineered medium, we're creating this highly controlled, incredibly clean environment. It instantly optimizes water retention and maximizes nutrient availability. And why does that matter? Well, it fosters a root zone that promotes absolute optimal development, mostly because the plant isn't wasting energy fighting through dense clay or nutrient-poor sand. It gets exactly what it needs, exactly when it needs it.
So this really built a rock-solid case for leaving dirt in the past. Traditional soil just comes with so many inherent risks. You've got hidden pathogens and dormant weed seeds just sitting there, waiting for a little bit of water so they can sprout up and ruin your day. Honestly, it's a gamble every single time you plant, but contrast that with the MycoSoil advantage. You get a heat-sterilized, perfectly clean slate. This is what gives growers ultimate control. You're actually engineering the environment for seedling success rather than constantly fighting against it.
And this brilliantly illustrates our main focus today, Agrivoltaic MycoSoil. Developed by AgroPV Integrated, the source material positions this as way more than just your average potting mix. This is an entirely integrated agricultural ecosystem packed right into a single medium. The goal here is to take all those high-level benefits of soilless cultivation, the cleanliness, the precise control, the nutrient availability, and just elevate them through a multifunctional process that works flawlessly for both weekend hobbyists and massive commercial farmers alike.
Now, the really interesting aspect of this whole thing is the life cycle of MycoSoil itself. This isn't a product that's just manufactured in a factory and shipped out. It utilizes a completely circular cultivation process, which is super cool. Let's walk through it together. It kicks off with rigorous thermal sterilization to ensure total purity. Then, it's actually used for mushroom cultivation. The mushrooms naturally break down the complex organic matter, which totally enriches the medium. Then, after the mushroom harvest, this spent substrate is harvested and packaged up as a premium soilless media. It becomes this perfectly nutrient-dense home for your everyday seedlings. It's basically the ultimate form of agricultural recycling. Zooming in on that very first step of the process really reveals why this method is so absolutely critical. The intense thermal heat sterilization method guarantees, like 100% guarantees, the eradication of pathogens, and it completely eliminates any of those pesky weed seeds. When you open a pack of MycoSoil, you are starting with total product safety. That means you're giving your seeds a perfectly clean start, and you are saving yourself hours and hours of frustrating labor that you'd usually lose to weeding or trying to fix soil-borne diseases. Because it starts out so exceptionally clean and its physical structure is naturally conditioned during that mushroom phase we talked about, the source material notes that it provides a meticulously designed, highly controlled environment that translates to undeniable seedling success. And we all know the seedling stage is literally the most vulnerable part of a plant's entire life. By providing a substrate with the perfect balance of aeration and moisture retention, completely free of pests, mind you, all of the plant's vital energy goes straight into vigorous, healthy, and rapid growth. Another big focus in the source material is just how accessible this medium is across all different scales of farming. AgroPV Integrated offers versatile packaging that matches whatever size operation you've got going on. They have convenience packs that are perfectly tailored for urban cultivators and hobbyists who maybe just need a reliable medium for a few pots on their balcony. But then, right alongside that, they offer large bulk product bags designed specifically for commercial farmers who are looking to integrate this into massive, forward-thinking operations.
Now, when you evaluate a medium that's heat-sterilized, self-conditioned through mushroom cultivation, and acts as its own circular ecosystem, you probably expect the barrier to entry to be cost. Usually, high-tech agricultural solutions come with pretty hefty premium price tags.
However, the data provided by AgroPV Integrated totally challenges that assumption, offering us a really interesting look at the actual economics of sustainable farming.
So the crucial point is the price point itself. The source lists the price at just 3 ringgit per pack. 3 ringgit. This price point is clearly positioned to democratize access to high-tech farming. Being able to access laboratory-grade sterilization, optimal root aeration, and total plant safety for such a low cost is just a fascinating example of how circular agrivoltaic processes can actually drive down end-user expenses. It absolutely proves that sustainable solutions do not have to break the bank.
And to further encourage the transition away from traditional dirt, AgroPV Integrated highlights an amazing promotional model, 2 packs for only 5 ringgit. For eco-conscious growers who are maybe scaling up for the planting season, this pricing structure is designed to make adopting these sustainable, pathogen-free farming practices highly accessible and incredibly cost-effective. It acts as this fantastic economic incentive to really lean into circular agricultural methods.
Which brings us to a final thought for today. Are we witnessing the beginning of the end for traditional, unpredictable dirt farming? With innovations like Agrivoltaic MycoSoil leveraging guaranteed thermal sterilization and a brilliant circular life cycle that actually gives back to the earth, the shift toward a cleaner, more sustainable harvest is literally more accessible than it has ever been. It kind of forces us to ask, once you've experienced this level of control and safety, why would you ever go back to planting in the dark? Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and we will see you next time.